The moment your cat stops acting normal, the door opens. Someone walks into your home. At first, nothing feels unusual. The conversation starts normally. The atmosphere seems calm. But then your cat suddenly stops moving. Not slowly, instantly. 1 second, they are relaxed on the couch or rubbing against your leg. The next, their entire body changes. The pupils widen. The ears shift slightly backward. The tail becomes still. Sometimes they stare at the person without blinking. Sometimes they quietly leave the room as if something invisible just changed in the air. And deep down, every cat owner has experienced this moment at least once. That strange feeling when your cat reacts differently to one specific person for reasons you cannot explain. Experts in feline behavior explain that cats constantly analyze emotional tension inside a space. Unlike humans, they do not depend on words or appearances to judge someone. Cats observe tiny details people barely notice. The rhythm of breathing, sudden body stiffness, forced movements, hesitation, tone of voice, eye contact, even emotional instability hidden behind a smile. Researchers who study animal perception observed that cats are extremely sensitive to environmental changes and human emotional states. In nature, survival depended on detecting danger before it became obvious. Because of that, cats evolved into silent observers. They watch first, they trust later, and sometimes, they never trust at all. That is why certain visitors create an immediate reaction inside a cat. The person may seem perfectly normal to everyone else in the room, but the cat behaves as if something feels wrong. Not always with aggression. In fact, the most disturbing reactions are often the quiet ones. The silent stare from across the room, the refusal to get close, the way your cat suddenly positions itself beside you and refuses to leave, the way it watches the visitor every time they move. Many owners ignore these moments because they seem small, but specialists in animal behavior explain that cats rarely waste energy reacting without reason. Every posture, every stare, every sudden disappearance usually has a purpose connected to safety, territory, or emotional comfort. And the unsettling part is what happens afterward. Hours later, you start thinking about how unusual your cat acted. You remember that they normally love people, they usually approach guests. They are affectionate, social, relaxed, but this time felt different. Then another thought quietly appears in your mind. Why did my cat react like that to this person specifically? And once you begin noticing these patterns, you cannot unsee them anymore. You begin remembering people your cat avoided before problems appeared, people your cat watched in complete silence, people your cat never seemed comfortable around, no matter how friendly they acted. In this video, you will discover the 7 powerful signs cats give when they sense bad energy inside a home. Some of these behaviors are so subtle that most people never realize their cat may have been warning them long before they understood the truth themselves. The silent stare that makes people uncomfortable. One of the most unsettling things a cat can do is stare at someone without blinking. Not for a few seconds, much longer than normal, completely still, completely focused, as if they are studying something nobody else in the room can see. Most people laugh when this happens. They joke that the cat is being weird, dramatic, or mysterious. But experts in feline behavior explain that prolonged staring is often a form of silent analysis. Cats do not always react emotionally first. Many times, they observe before deciding whether someone feels safe. And that is where things become uncomfortable. Researchers who study feline psychology discovered that cats are highly sensitive to microexpressions and physical tension in humans. Tiny facial changes, nervous hand movements, forced smiles, irregular breathing, sudden shifts in tone, restless posture. These are details most people overlook during conversations, but cats constantly monitor them. That is why some cats stare intensely at certain visitors while remaining completely relaxed around others. The cat is not simply looking, it is assessing. In nature, survival depended on detecting unstable behavior before danger became immediate. A predator rarely announces itself openly. Animals survive by noticing subtle inconsistencies. Domestic cats still carry those instincts today, even inside safe homes. And sometimes, that instinct appears in deeply unsettling ways. Have you ever noticed your cat staring at someone while the entire room feels slightly tense for no obvious reason? The visitor may be smiling and talking normally, but your cat refuses to break eye contact, almost as if it senses something hidden beneath the surface. Animal behavior specialists explain that cats often become hyper-aware around emotionally unpredictable individuals. Humans naturally mask emotions. Cats do not rely on words enough to be fooled by that mask. They react more to emotional atmosphere than social performance. That is why a cat may distrust someone who technically did nothing wrong. The strange part is that the stare itself often affects people emotionally. Many visitors become visibly uncomfortable when a cat watches them too closely. They shift in their seat. They avoid eye contact with the animal. Some nervously laugh. Others ask the owner to move the cat away. And cats notice that reaction. The more uncomfortable the person becomes, the more alert the cat sometimes appears. Studies involving feline observation behavior suggest that cats are extremely attentive to emotional feedback loops. They notice when tension increases inside a room. They detect changes in voice pressure, body heat, movement, rhythm, and emotional instability faster than humans expect. This is why the silent stare can feel almost supernatural even though it comes from real feline instincts developed over thousands of years. But sometimes the stare is only the beginning. Because some cats do something even stranger after silently observing someone for several minutes. Instead of confronting the tension, they completely remove themselves from it. And that next behavior reveals far more than most owners realize. When your cat suddenly leaves the room, sometimes the strongest reaction a cat can give is not aggression, it is absence. A visitor enters the house. Your cat watches quietly for a moment. There is no hissing, no growling, no dramatic behavior. Then, without warning, the cat simply gets up and leaves the room. Slowly, silently, almost as if it has already decided something. Most people misunderstand this behavior completely. They assume the cat is shy, antisocial, or uninterested in strangers. But experts in feline behavior explain that sudden withdrawal is often a self-protection response connected to emotional discomfort inside the environment. Cats are extremely selective with the energy they stay around. Researchers who study feline stress responses observed that cats instinctively avoid situations where tension feels unpredictable or emotionally heavy. In the wild, remaining near unstable behavior could expose an animal to danger. Domestic cats still carry that survival instinct today, even inside homes. That is why some cats quietly distance themselves when certain people arrive. And what makes this behavior so unsettling is how selective it can be. The same cat that normally greets visitors at the door may suddenly disappear the moment one specific person walks inside. No explanation, no obvious trigger, just a silent decision to create distance. Animal behavior specialists explain that cats are highly sensitive to emotional atmospheres humans often ignore. Raised voices are not necessary. Conflict does not need to be visible. Cats can react to suppressed anger, nervousness, emotional instability, manipulation, or forced social behavior long before humans consciously recognize it. In other words, your cat may be reacting to what the room feels like, not simply to what it looks like. And many owners notice something interesting afterward. The cat does not hide from everyone, only certain people. Some visitors make the cat curious and affectionate within minutes. Others cause the cat to vanish instantly every single time they arrive. That pattern matters more than most people realize. Studies on feline environmental sensitivity show that cats carefully protect their nervous system from overwhelming stimulation. When emotional tension increases inside a room, many cats choose retreat over confrontation because distance creates safety. This is why hiding is not always fear. Sometimes it is evaluation, sometimes it is avoidance, and sometimes it is a silent rejection of the emotional atmosphere a person brings into the home. The most fascinating part is what happens while the cat is gone. Many cats do not fully relax after leaving the room. They remain alert from a distance, listening, watching from hidden places, monitoring movement through partially opened doors or hallways. Experts explain that this behavior reflects a state of cautious observation rather than complete escape. The cat wants distance, but it also wants awareness. And once you notice this pattern, another unsettling realization begins to appear. Certain people never truly make your cat feel safe, no matter how friendly they act. But some cats react in an even stranger way when they sense emotional discomfort around their owner. Instead of leaving the situation, they position themselves directly between the visitor and the person they trust most, and that behavior can feel less like fear and more like protection. The strange way cats protect their humans, there are moments when a cat behaves in a way that feels impossible to ignore. A visitor enters the house, and instead of hiding, your cat suddenly stays unusually close to you. They sit beside your feet and refuse to move. They follow you from room to room. Sometimes they position themselves directly between you and the other person without making a sound. At first, it seems random, but then you realize something strange. Your cat only behaves this way around certain people. Experts in feline behavior explain that cats form deep emotional attachments with the humans they trust. Contrary to the old belief that cats are emotionally distant, researchers observe that many cats develop protective routines connected to territory, safety, and emotional stability inside the home. And sometimes, that protective instinct becomes surprisingly visible. Animal behavior specialists notice that cats often become hyper-aware when they sense discomfort in their owner's emotional state. Humans constantly communicate stress without realizing it. Small changes in breathing, muscle tension, posture, voice tone, eye movement, and heart rhythm subtly change the emotional atmosphere around them. Cats detect those changes almost immediately. That is why some cats suddenly become vigilant when a specific visitor enters the room. Not because the person attacked anyone, not because something dramatic happened, but because the cat senses a shift in the emotional balance of its trusted environment. And the behaviors that follow can feel incredibly intentional. Some cats quietly sit facing the visitor while remaining physically close to their owner. Others place themselves in hallways or doorways as if monitoring movement. Some repeatedly interrupt conversations by walking between people, climbing onto their owner's lap, or demanding physical contact during tense moments. Researchers studying feline social behavior explain that these actions may be connected to emotional regulation and environmental control. Cats naturally position themselves where they feel they can best observe possible threats while staying close to safety. In simple terms, your cat may be trying to keep watch over both the room and you. One of the most unsettling behaviors owners describe is when a cat blocks access in subtle ways. A visitor stands up, and the cat suddenly appears in the hallway. The person walks toward a room, and the cat silently sits near the entrance. No aggression, no attack, just presence. A calm but deliberate presence. And strangely, many visitors become uncomfortable when this happens. Experts explain that cats are masters of territorial communication. They do not always use force to establish boundaries. Often, they use positioning, staring, silence, and controlled movement to influence the atmosphere around them. This is why some cats seem to watch over their owners during emotionally tense interactions. Not every cat does this openly. Some protect through closeness, others through observation, others through constant monitoring from hidden areas nearby. But the emotional pattern behind the behavior remains remarkably similar. The cat senses something unstable and adjusts its behavior around the human it trusts most. And the most fascinating part is that much of this protection begins in the eyes. Because before cats move closer, block hallways, or monitor a room, their pupils often change in ways most people never notice. And once you understand what those eyes reveal, certain moments with your cat may suddenly feel very different. The EYES, why your cat's pupils change around certain people. A cat's eyes can reveal more than most owners realize. Sometimes a visitor walks into the house and your cat immediately looks different. The pupils become unusually large, the stare sharpens, the blinking almost stops. Even when the body appears calm, the eyes seem completely alert, locked onto every movement happening inside the room. And once you notice it, it becomes impossible to ignore. Experts in feline behavior explain that a cat's eyes constantly reflect changes in emotional state and environmental awareness. While lighting affects pupil size, emotional stimulation also plays a major role. Excitement, stress, uncertainty, curiosity, and hypervigilance can all trigger visible changes in a cat's eyes within seconds. That is why some cats suddenly develop wide, dark pupils around certain people, even inside normal lighting conditions. Researchers studying feline sensory processing observed that cats enter a state of heightened environmental analysis when they detect uncertainty around them. During this state, their brains gather information rapidly: movement patterns, voice fluctuations, hand gestures, facial tension, direction of attention. Cats process these details continuously while appearing completely silent, which is why a calm-looking cat may actually be intensely evaluating someone, and the eyes usually reveal it first. One of the strangest things owners describe is the feeling that their cat is tracking a person across the room. The visitor moves slightly, and the cat's eyes follow instantly. The person changes tone while speaking, and the cat's pupils subtly widen again. Sometimes the cat seems relaxed physically, but the eyes never soften. Animal behavior specialists explain that reduced blinking in cats is often linked to alert observation. A relaxed cat typically blinks slowly and frequently around people it trusts. But when uncertainty increases, blinking decreases because the brain shifts focus toward monitoring the environment. In simple terms, your cat stops relaxing and starts studying. And many people unconsciously react to this intense observation. Some visitors avoid looking at the cat entirely. Others become visibly nervous after realizing the animal has been watching them continuously for several minutes. What makes this fascinating is that cats often maintain this behavior only around specific individuals while remaining completely relaxed around everyone else. That selective response matters. Researchers from animal cognition studies explain that cats are exceptionally skilled at reading emotional congruence in humans. They notice when body language does not match emotional intention. A person may speak kindly while carrying tension internally. Humans often miss this contradiction because they focus on words. Cats focus more on behavior patterns and emotional atmosphere. This is why a cat's eyes can suddenly change before the owner senses anything unusual at all. And sometimes, the hyperfocused stare becomes even more unsettling when it happens repeatedly around the same person every single time they visit. Not once, not twice. Every single time. That is usually the moment owners begin realizing their cat may not be reacting randomly anymore. Because when a cat consistently changes its behavior around one specific individual, the meaning behind that pattern becomes much harder to dismiss. When your cat acts different only with one specific person, this is the moment many cat owners stop calling it coincidence. Your cat is normally affectionate. .com/social, they approach guests without fear. They relax around family members. They even tolerate loud people or unfamiliar environments without much trouble. But then there is that one person, the person your cat never fully accepts. No matter how much time passes, the reaction stays the same. The moment that person enters the house, your cat changes. Sometimes the shift is immediate. The body stiffens, the tail flicks slowly, the pupils widen again. The cat either disappears completely or watches the person from a distance with intense focus. And what unsettles owners the most is how consistent the behavior becomes. Not random, not occasional, consistent. Experts in feline behavior explain that cats build strong emotional associations through repeated observation. Unlike humans, cats are not easily influenced by social performance. They do not care about charm, politeness, or appearances in the same way people do. Cats respond more honestly to patterns of energy, emotional stability, movement, and behavioral predictability. That is why a person who seems perfectly normal to everyone else may still create discomfort in a cat. Researchers studying feline-human interaction observed that cats quickly memorize emotional experiences connected to specific individuals. If a person repeatedly carries nervous tension, emotional aggression, manipulative behavior, unpredictable energy, or hidden hostility, many cats begin treating that individual differently long before humans consciously notice a problem. And this is where the situation becomes deeply uncomfortable, because owners often remember what happened later. They remember the cat avoiding someone who eventually caused emotional damage. They remember the silent staring before trust was broken. They remember feeling confused about their cat's reaction at the time, until everything suddenly made sense afterward. Animal behavior specialists explain that cats are incredibly sensitive to emotional inconsistency. Humans often send mixed signals without realizing it. Someone may speak softly while carrying anger internally. Someone may smile while radiating anxiety, resentment, dishonesty, or emotional instability through posture and behavior. Cats notice these contradictions immediately, and once a cat associates someone with emotional discomfort, changing that perception becomes difficult. That is why some cats never fully relax around certain individuals, no matter how friendly the person tries to appear. The cat may tolerate their presence, but subtle signs remain visible, refusing physical contact, avoiding proximity, watching carefully from hidden places, leaving the room whenever the person approaches. The most disturbing part is how selective this behavior can be. The same cat that distrusts one visitor may instantly adore another person they have never met before. Experts explain that cats often respond positively to emotionally calm individuals because relaxed human behavior creates a predictable atmosphere. Slow movements, soft eye contact, balanced energy, and emotional stability naturally reduce feline stress responses. But emotionally conflicted people often create the opposite effect. And many owners describe the same unsettling realization. Their cat was right about someone long before they were. Not because the cat understood human morality like a person would, but because it sensed emotional instability humans ignored, and sometimes the tension does not disappear when the visitor leaves. In fact, for some cats, the strangest behaviors begin afterward, late at night, when the house finally becomes silent again. The midnight behavior after the visit leaves, the visitor is gone. The front door closes, the house becomes quiet again. But your cat still does not act normal. This is one of the strangest parts of feline behavior that many owners never fully understand. Sometimes the reaction does not end when the person leaves. In fact, for certain cats, the real tension begins afterward. Hours later, your cat is still restless. They walk slowly through dark hallways as if checking every room. They stop suddenly and stare into empty spaces. They jump onto windowsills they normally ignore. Some cats begin meowing late at night for no visible reason. Others refuse to sleep deeply, remaining unusually alert until morning. And what makes this behavior unsettling is how different it feels from their normal nighttime routine. Experts in feline behavior explain that cats are extremely sensitive to environmental disruption. Unlike humans, cats rely heavily on emotional and territorial stability to feel safe inside a home. When that balance changes, even temporarily, some cats remain physiologically alert long after the situation appears over. Researchers studying feline stress patterns observed that cats often continue monitoring environments after emotionally tense interactions. In nature, danger rarely disappeared the moment another animal walked away. Survival depended on remaining cautious until the environment felt stable again. Domestic cats still carry those instincts. That is why some cats seem unable to fully relax after certain visitors leave the house. And many owners describe the same eerie experience. The cat keeps patrolling, not frantically, not aggressively, quietly, deliberately, almost as if it is making sure the atmosphere has returned to normal. Animal behavior specialists explain that nighttime increases feline sensory awareness even further. Cats naturally become more active and observant during darker hours because their instincts evolved around nocturnal survival patterns. Sounds become more noticeable, movements feel amplified, emotional tension lingering inside the environment may affect them more strongly once the house becomes silent. This is why some cats begin behaving strangely only after midnight. Some sit near bedroom doors, watching the hallway. Others repeatedly return to the same room where the visitor spent time earlier. Some become unusually attached to their owner that night, refusing to sleep alone, or constantly checking where the person is inside the house. Researchers also observe that cats can absorb emotional stress from their environment in subtle ways. When humans experience tension, anxiety, fear, or emotional discomfort, cats often mirror those emotional shifts behaviorally. Even if the owner does not consciously feel disturbed anymore, the cat may still be processing the altered atmosphere internally. And this is where many owners begin questioning everything they previously ignored, because sometimes they realize the cat only behaves this way after very specific people visit, not after everyone. Only certain individuals leave that lingering effect behind. The unsettling part is how instinctive the behavior feels. The cat is not acting out for attention, it is not performing randomly. The movements appear purposeful, watchful, controlled, as though the animal sensed something inside the home that humans could not fully perceive themselves. But despite all of this, there is another side to feline intuition that most people rarely talk about. Because just as some cats instantly distrust certain individuals, they can also immediately trust people who carry calm, safe, emotionally balanced energy. And that reaction may reveal something even more fascinating about how cats truly see human beings. Why cats sometimes trust people before we do. Not every reaction a cat gives is a warning. Sometimes the opposite happens. A person enters your home for the first time, and your cat immediately walks toward them without hesitation. No silent staring, no hiding, no tension in the body. The cat relaxes almost instantly, as if it has known that person for years. And for many owners, this reaction feels just as mysterious as fear, because cats are selective, very selective. Experts in feline behavior explain that trust is one of the most valuable things a cat gives. Unlike animals that seek social interaction automatically, cats usually observe first. They analyze movement, emotional stability, voice tone, eye contact, and behavioral rhythm before lowering their guard. That is why instant trust from a cat often surprises people. Researchers studying feline-human bonding observed that cats respond positively to calm nervous systems. Slow movements, steady breathing, soft eye contact, emotional predictability, and relaxed body language create an environment cats instinctively perceive as safe. And humans rarely realize how visible their emotional state actually is. Some people enter a room carrying invisible pressure with them. Others create calm without saying much at all. Cats seem remarkably sensitive to this difference. That is why certain individuals attract cats almost immediately. You may have seen this happen before. A guest sits quietly on the couch without trying to force interaction, and within minutes, the cat approaches naturally. Sometimes the cat curls up beside them, sometimes it exposes its stomach, rubs against their legs, or begins slow blinking almost immediately. Animal behavior specialists explain that these are powerful signs of trust. Cats rarely expose vulnerable behavior around people they perceive as emotionally unsafe. And the fascinating part is this. The people cats trust most are often emotionally grounded individuals. Not necessarily loud, charismatic, or socially dominant people. In many cases, cats prefer humans who feel emotionally balanced, patient, calm, and internally secure. Researchers observed that cats often avoid intense or emotionally chaotic behavior because unpredictability increases stress responses in animals. Calm energy creates stability. Stability creates trust. This is why many cats seem deeply attached to certain people within moments of meeting them. And once owners begin comparing these reactions, an uncomfortable realization sometimes appears. The cat reacts differently for a reason, not because it understands human morality in a mystical way, not because it possesses supernatural powers, but because cats are extraordinary observers of emotional behavior, tension, rhythm, and environmental harmony. They notice what humans overlook. They react to what humans suppress, and sometimes they recognize emotional safety before we do ourselves. That may be the real reason cats seem so mysterious. They are constantly reading the emotional truth behind human behavior, while most people only focus on appearances. And once you understand this, your cat's strange reactions stop feeling random. The staring, the distancing, the silent protection, the nighttime vigilance, the instant trust, all of it begins forming a pattern. A pattern that may have been quietly unfolding inside your home for years without you fully noticing it. Your cat may have been warning you for years. When you connect all these signs, something begins to shift in the way you see your own home. The silent staring, the sudden disappearance, the protective positioning, the unusual pupil changes, the selective reactions to specific people, the restless nights after certain visits, and the immediate trust your cat shows toward others without hesitation. Individually, each behavior can be explained as instinct, habit, or simple feline sensitivity. But together, they form a pattern that is hard to ignore. Experts in feline behavior explain that cats are constantly reading emotional stability in their environment. They do not interpret human intentions the way we do, but they react strongly to emotional consistency, tension, and behavioral unpredictability. In many cases, they respond before humans consciously recognize what feels wrong or right. That is why your cat may seem like it is reacting first. In reality, it is observing first, processing constantly, and responding without hesitation. Researchers who study animal perception observe that cats often act as environmental indicators of emotional change inside a home. They register subtle shifts in tone, energy, movement, and presence that most people overlook during daily life. And sometimes, those small signals accumulate around specific individuals. This does not mean your cat understands people in a moral sense. It means your cat understands patterns of behavior and emotional stability at a level that is far more instinctive than analytical, which is why their reactions can feel so personal, so precise, so difficult to explain. And when you reflect on past moments, things may start to make more sense. The guests your cat avoided, the ones it watched too closely, the ones it never relaxed around, and the ones it trusted instantly, without hesitation. Your cat may not have been reacting randomly, it may have been responding to emotional signals you were not yet aware of. And that thought changes everything, because it raises a question most owners never consider. How many things in your life did your cat notice before you did? And what would you see differently today if you had paid attention sooner? If you want, I can now adapt this entire script into a high-retention YouTube voiceover version with pacing, pauses, and emotional hooks optimized for watch time.